Well, hello everyone. Happy Throwback Thursday, and the rotation leads us to a Bionicle review, and this one's on 3 of the Glatorians from 2009. And so onto the one caster entry that I have for Vorox here, which as they have the Bionicle logo in white, all new for this year, and then also an eye with the Thornax ball on it, and then the name of the set, Vorox, on there. Then picture of Vorox in a menacing stance in the wastelands of Barra Magna, long staircase, like they all kind of did for that, and also large sandworm kind of running through it there. Then the Lego logo, Glatorian logo, and a choking hazard, and then recommended ages is 7 to 16. Set number 8983 has 51 pieces. And then one side which has this kind of grip-like part, sort of like the canisters the year prior kind of did. And then as for the lid part, which is sort of kind of interesting how it is all the ridges and then the circles of that, but the bottom part of which this part which fits that, so they're stackable for that. But then it wasn't until a few months later when the Glatorian Legend sets came out, then these two bits which can stack on that as well. Obviously to ship them out easily, and yeah. Then onto the back side, we would have another picture of Vorox and Zesk, which was last Throwback Thursday, and also the Bionicle logo again, and again the shield, or the Wastelands of Barra Magna, and also advertising for the Bionicle action figure game, which was a common thing from this time, and then how to put them back in the canister and shooting off the Thornax launcher, and the biocode, which is probably not valid anymore. And then on to one side of these canisters have the Bionicle logo again, and also Bionicle.com on the sides, and also a little slot for you to get your finger in and open the canister much easily, which major highlight over the Mystica the previous year for that. And then did also carry on to both, also on the Glatorian Legends, and then also carried on to the Stars / Hero Factory, of course. And then that's about it with the canister. And now on to 2 of the manuals. Same picture as on the front of the canister and everything. On the back, how to win on the online survey, but with Pharaoh and Skirmix. Then, Heat and Tuma next Throwback Thursday, so look forward to that. And then as for Lego Club, and once again, Tuma and Pharaoh and Skirmix again next Throwback Thursday. Advertisement for Oliagori, which I have previously reviewed, and then also a little team up kind of thing for the Bionicle figure game. And then these 2 pages, which are little instructions for the Bionicle action figure game. Pause and read if you want to. Then flip it back, and then all the pieces that come with the set and the last building steps. There's which advertisement for the website from the year prior. And then full advertisement for all the Glatorians, which I am now and have previously reviewed. And then a little promotional poster with all the Glatorians together, which they kind of did for plenty of the years. Okay, and now on to the sets. First of which is Skrall, in which from first glance, kind of a neat color scheme consisting of black and red. Well, light red. Well, since this year we were first introduced back to light red, of course. Well, even though, or maybe it was Exalera T9 the year prior that did do so. And of course, a few months later, there was Akar of the Glatorian Legends that fully reintroduced the color scheme, or that color, but yeah. Like, as for the feet, which just the usual Toa and Nika feet, the spiky ones in black, which Mystica Onua had the year prior for that. And also, weird thing with both Skrall here, and as you'll see on Vorox, which have the life counter kind of piece, the game dial piece, but on the foot for that. So this switch a complete amount of asymmetry for that. So like if you're a symmetry person, then that gets so annoying for that. But although back in the day, that one user, which YouTuber, kind of found a way to modify the scroll sets for that, for both this and Vorox to make it better. But yeah. And then as for the lower limbs, which are just the Toametsu lower limbs, which were kind of used a lot in this year for that. And then as for the thigh armory, which are the thighs, just usual Viscerac limbs in light red, and then also these quite neat armor pieces that did come on a few sets, which you'll also see on Vorox, but also one of a few pieces that were reused in Generation 2 for that. But also once in Hero Factory in purple. So kind of interesting bit of his history of that piece, but does have some like kind of edginess to it, like a typical system slope kind of does. And then as for the torso or body part of it, as you see, which may look kind of thin in this part, but like with another armor piece and all that, but also just a usual Nika torso, but in a kind of hunched kind of position. So like he has his shoulders put back quite a far ways. Oh, whoops. Put back kind of a far ways. Not sure why that is, but whatever. Well, since the Skrall are kind of a like wild species for that, but sort of like contained by Tuma, of course. But then as for the helmet piece of which has a kind of long back part to it, and then some kind of neat like extra detailing, and it's kind of a small version of the maze and shield part to it, and then front part of which has some kind of rock-like bits to it, since the Skrall and Bone Hunters are kind of rock-like. And then also the Stroniuses, which was also in the following wave, or following Glatorian Legends wave as well. And then also kind of connects from the top part as well. And then same exact headpiece as all the other, all the sets this year kind of did. And then also attached onto these new kind of neck pieces, which I believe are still carried on to this day for that, but just did get other colors over time, other than at this point black and dark gray for that. So, but they would sort of like the Bionicle, like the Hordika neck pieces, but now straight and not bent, and also a axle rod, or I mean just a pinhole in there instead of two plus rod holes for that. So at least quite useful for mocks, of course. And then as for the arms here, which are just same exact Viscerac limbs for that, and then also one of these like arm blades on there, which is also the main sword of the set as well. But these were also used on a couple other sets, but this in red for this set, only time ever used in red for that, so it was kind of exclusive to him. Sort of like the ones on Atticus in glow in the dark, of course. and then goes down to another Metru limb in black, and then ending off with a handpiece in red for that, which Will Furno in Hero Factory also used for that. Then the lower part of which is just a Toemari Matoro blade part, but in black, which probably came on some sets previously, but or actually I think it's first time in black for this set for that. Have a few bits of which holding the Thornax launcher, which is the main weapon of this year, and then another one of those new sword pieces as well. But like as for the Thornax launcher as a whole, which quite major good highlight over the launchers from the last 2 years, of which like small, light, unobtrusive, and also how it works like is just pinch these together and fires off. And the ammo part, which most of it is soft rubber, and around the spike parts are soft rubber, and the center black part is solid plastic, so it can fit on as well. But it can also fit a regular Zammersphere into there. Since this, but also this whole launcher part did also carry on into Hero Factory, the 1 and 2 years later, but then also major highlighted with Breakout through Invasion from Below, of course. And then on the other side, other arm, which same stuff, but also this large shield piece, which is exclusive to this set, which has this large kind of maze-like part, which is actually the maze to the great beings, of course, which key part of the storyline. And then, but also in the background part of the Glatorian Legends canisters had this kind of shaping to it for that. But then also with Bionicle Stars the following year had this as on part of the top part of the canisters for that. So since of course the maze of the great beings was a key part of the storyline for that. But however, this shield piece here with this red pattern only exclusive to this set. But in the Legend Reborn movie did have a green color to it and used on Tuma, but Tuma didn't have, but the set of Tuma doesn't include that. So if you are to do so, then you can just could like recolor it and put it on the back on him. And then if you like hold it just right, then it spins quite well with the saw blades around it. And then how it's positioned, which is a common problem that has kind of plagued this set a lot. And also, this set kind of jiggles a lot when you did so, so kind of a problem for that. So unless if you have some extra Technic bits you can add on to that and put it sideways, put it sideways like that, then it would work out a lot better then. And now that is about it with Skrall here. And now on to Malum, which although being the one with the most pieces coming at 59 pieces, is he which also the shortest. Kind of a strange thing with the main sets of a whole wave, or cancer sets from a whole wave. And also from first glance kind of feels close to Baraki Karpar, but different coloring to it. And also a fire elemented character instead of a stone character. And it's like as for the feet, which are just traditional Tohardika foot pieces, but in red or dark red for that. And then also the traditional Vlaki limbs and Anika thigh armor pieces, but still in dark red for that. And also still reusing the reinforced hand pieces for that from the year prior as well. But however, these foot pieces in dark red, nice to get and use for mocking. Then as for the main body torso part, which you wonder, why is there a bit of gray on, or plenty of gray in the color scheme for that? Well, same thing with both Ranu, also in this wave, and Slypin on Akkar, the following wave for that. Is that's in which got well the gray kind of turned off a lot of people, but however they which are all fire characters, so the gray represents Ash for that. And so get that clear for that. But however, the does have the same chest plate piece as Karapar kind of did for that, but underneath the which quite different than that of Karapar's, but where it has where there's a few technic bits in the head piece of which, or the neck part that kind of holds the head onto it in a kind of unique way for that. So he was kind of one of the most unique of the Glatorians, of course. And let me get that back on. And of course the chestplate piece in red and Key Torrenta, which great to use for mocking as well. And then as for the head part, same headpiece as all the sets, of course, but his helmet of which kind of a neat look to it, where kind of small and a large open mouth area, and also complete symmetry to that, and a couple of flames on the back part, and then also the plus rock connection, which is upwards yet again, and then slips on like so. And then on for the back side of which is how it's all the Anika torso piece, which since of course this year the Anika torso piece was kind of overused a lot. For that, not sure why, but whatever. And then of course the life counter, used for the Bionicle action figure game as well. And then as for the arms here, which do have the Kalma kind of foot pieces as well, which also in this wave was also used on Pharaoh and Skirmix as well. For that. And then kind of connected on by these two blue connector bits to it. And then Vaki limb to there, and then traditional hand pieces instead of the newer, the all new fingered hand pieces of this year. Then these new clock pieces, which have two large bits to it with serrades onto them, and then a couple Technic bits holding Visserac foot pieces in silver of that. So kind of a neat, interesting piece for here. For that, but then onto the other side of which kind of the same build, but also an extra neck piece that holds the Thornax launcher onto it. So another position of a shoulder shooter, like there was with Toei Naikanduparu back in 2006. And fun fact about Malum here is the only way he appeared in the Glatorian Legends movie was in the form of a whole bunch of Scarabax beetles, and in purple for that. Kind of strange how that is, but however, but although you could kind of make that or try and mock that up if you wanted, so which would be kind of a neat thing to see. But yeah, that is about it. Malum, and lastly is Vorox, which obviously quite a tall character for that. Well, kind of tall for a canister set. Well, even though that we only saw that from say or from what's the name? Takadox and Baraki for that, but and also Krika the prior year prior for that. But the main highlight of him is a whole bunch of tan parts, which haven't seen since Pohatu Duva in 2002. So, however, great to have it returned here for the second to last year of Bionicle G1, of course. So, as for the legs of which have the Paraka feet or clawed Paraka feet within that tan color, and then just like the Skrall life counter on there. But once again, someone kind of botted Vorox here to have it on his back for that back in the day. But yeah. Then they do have a whole bunch of the Metru limbs in tan for that, and then also these, and then same armor pieces that the Skrall had, but however it's but in dark brown and tan kind of mixed to that. And then also have these random blue pins that stick out to that. And so now now I just kind of don't get why that is, which the blue pins kind of stick out and just kind of random for that. Although why I have these small black pins on there is so it can work out better for that. But I kind of left it there just as is, but however, still workable. Yeah. And then as for the body part, which is just the Anika torso piece in black, and then with the two blue pins going through the Metru waist in tan, and then to some Technic bits in the back for that. And then as for the arms of which, kind of same pieces, all same as the legs, and then but with the new hand piece in tan as well, and then does have the whole staff with the Huki Warblade, so all of which same as Tomari Huki 2 years prior kind of also had, but the rod part is a lot smaller than that. So now, not sure why I exactly used this piece for that, but maybe it was just kind of a short notice thinking or whatever, or maybe a new piece for the weapon was just a little too much to work around. But yeah, even though Strak and Gresh and Tarix all had, or the rest of which had unique weapons, but his of which not so new and unique. Yeah. And then as for the other one, which is other arm, all the same for that, but with the Thornax launcher on it, and of course fires like so. But this is which the most common way the Thornax launcher is held like for that. And then as for onto the head area, or the head parts, which kind of consisting of a Metru limb piece for a neck, which Tuma also has, which you'll see as well. And then the head part, just the same as all the other sets of the ear, and then however the mask piece of which quite unique to it, and then where it has some nice scaly texture to it, and a couple of pinchers with pistons on them. And then also the connector part underneath that, and then these little ear-like separate appendages going back towards that, which, and of course, like an extra larger version of Zesk's. But the main problem with that is this, which kind of a thin plastic for that. So, however, although it could break off kind of easily, so be very careful with this. And then if you put it right onto there, and then if you look, it's kind of high up on the mouth area. I think it should have been like downwards a bit more for that. And then as onto the back side of which is just an Avatorian foot piece, and also newer Toamata foot piece, but in tan as well. But unfortunately, it's just one in this set. But nowadays you can obviously link two of it to be symmetrical in a mock if you wanted. And the tail part of which is just a Avatorian limb, same as Zesk's for that, and then another Tometru limb, and then ending off with the Huki side blade as a stinger part to it, but also fun way to store it or put in storage is obviously kind of folded in like that if it's not so in use for that. So just as something to point out for that. And although this whole tail part, which kind of high up for that to be called a tail for that, although if it were to be considered a tail, I would say just let it be a lot lower down to that. But although you could modify him to do so if you wanted. Oh, hang on. So now, for my overall verdict is that overall, these of which are quite cool sets for how they are. Like, a few good recolors of pieces, especially on Vorox with a lot of tan to him, and of course Skrall, which does have like a key part of the storyline, which mostly on the shield and so on, and also kind of unique builds added to them, like obviously the backwards to land like a torso, well, which was also used in the year prior on Gorast and also on Vastus the following wave as well. And Skrall's which a quite unique build to it, with a 90-degree bend to it. Well, unlike how Strax was, which was kind of angled differently. But yeah. And then also, as for the $13 that they were at the time, which still kind of good for how they are. Well, and of course, the highlight is the Thorax launchers, which did carry on into most waves, or carry on into the following wave and Hero Factory as well. But luckily, the wave which kind of the most bestest launchers there are, since of course small and light and not so intrusive as like Medak Sky Blasters or Kornak Blasters as well. And then also, and as for Vorox's main design, like with the tail parts of which I say quite unique and neat highlight to him, which we haven't seen on any sets as well. Since they of course have carried on uniqueness since the Baraki 2 years earlier. But yeah, and of course, Malum may be kind of similar to Karapar for that, but at least he has a few bits swapped around as well. But yeah. And I guess, and also great to have some new armor pieces that also carry on to Generation 2 on both Skrall and Vorox for that. And of course, but luckily they did get recolored over time, anyways. But yeah. And so now that is about it with this review. And so now, if any of you still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who haven't and are still looking to get these sets, I'd say definitely pick them up. eBay, Bricklink, Mercari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that is it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.